we're now, if you guys remember, and I'll keep saying this, we're working our way through that hierarchy where we start out at that chemistry level, we worked our way up to the cells, we're in the tissues now. So we've looked at that integumentary system. This time we're going to be starting the skeletal system, and that's going to be osseous tissue, okay? Very interesting tissue of the body. So I've put out here the study guide, chapter 7, and a worksheet that we're going to have. How many of y'all have access to your textbook? Okay, cool. All right. So we'll come back to the study guide as we go through. And as we look at chapter 7, the information that we're going to be looking at for the skeletal system, this is showing, do you notice anything in this picture? Yeah.
Yeah, I cringed when I first saw it.
Yeah.
I was like looking at it.
Like, ooh. Yeah. What do you see?
His legs at like a 90-degree angle.
His ankle is.
It's like a shit.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's, I mean, I would say it's being bent in a way that it shouldn't.
Right.
Okay, that's just me. All right, anybody else agree with me on that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, bone has been broken.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as we look at bone, okay, this wonderful structure, all right, because, let me see, most of the time, people go, well, it's dry as a bone outside. Y'all ever heard somebody say that? Not yet, anyway. Just want you to take a peek at it, okay? Pretty unique. Definitely, pretty unique. So, yes, that picture right there definitely makes me cringe also. And bone, in thinking about our tissue types, yes, connective tissue and hardened. This time, the matrix is hardened, okay? Up to this point, we've seen where there could be a small amount of matrix present, i.e., thinking about the skin, cells having to be close together. But we could also think about how, as we got to like the subcutaneous layer, matrix is kind of jello type, okay? Now our matrix is hardened. Now let's think for a second. Matrix. What does that tell us? What do we find in the matrix? Other than Keanu Reeves.
Collagen.
We could find fibers, like our collagen, reticular, elastic.
Oh, like the cells.
We could find cells, all right? So what I'm trying to get you guys to think about with the matrix is it's something that is keeping components whole, okay? The components are kept whole. But this time, the matrix is hardened, okay? Now, the function of the skeletal system, the support, our bones, they are hard and rigid. However, they contain lots of cartilage. And that helps to make it flexible, but at the same time, we find strength. Okay? In areas where the cartilage is all that's present, like the nose, the external ear, so forth, okay, it's still tough, all right? Different type of cartilage is the different type of fiber, okay, that's going to be more elastic. When we're looking at cartilage that we might find between two bones, for example, it will be containing more of that collagen fiber. And bone is going to have a lot of the collagen fibers. We're going to have ligaments. Ligaments help hold a bone to a bone. Protection. One of the things that I think I mentioned, no, that might have been my 142 class. When we look at our skeletal structure, note, skull, vertebral column, ribs. They are encasing very important viscera. For example, the skull is giving tremendous protection to the brain, the vertebral column to our spinal cord, the rib cage to the lungs, the heart, a little bit to the kidneys. Okay? So the bone structure is encasing these organs. That tells me those organs are very important. All right? I mean, what little bit's left, okay, of my brain, all right, I like the fact, encased in the bone. Okay? The vertebral, it's protection. Movement. By having the ability for bones and muscles, ligaments to connect, having joints, okay, we're able to get movement. Storage. Now, have we talked about the importance of calcium?
Yeah.
Okay, and how the body needs to maintain the levels of calcium very tightly. Okay, and so the bone will allow for calcium to either be deposited, okay, or pulled out, okay, to make sure that levels of calcium and the phosphorus too in our blood are correct. This affects muscle and nerve, which we'll get to in later chapters. Blood cell production. In children, all the bones of the body are involved in blood cell production. Once you reach your full growth, okay, and as you get into teenage years and so forth, it'll only become certain bones of the body that are doing the production. So the functions of the skeletal system, what you're going to find, it has the ability to affect all other systems. All right? All other systems. The components, the pieces of the skeletal system, the bone, cartilage, and there's 3 types: hyaline, fibrocartilage, elastic. The tendons, the ligaments. That is what makes up our skeletal system. The first thing we're going to look at, cartilage. On our little skeleton over here, they're representing some of the cartilage with this kind of yellowish look and the gray, okay? If we look at some of these right here that are trying to show the joints, okay, they're kind of representing it with that pink color. This blue, all right, is going to be a type of cartilage also, the articular, which I think we talked about, okay? So, cartilage. Now, if you remember, when we were talking about the tissue types, cartilage is the semi-rigid tissue, okay? Whereas bone is the rigid tissue. So now with cartilage, and now I got to remember, I got 141 and 142 going on at the same time. So if I repeat something, y'all just kind of bear with me. Did we talk about the types of cells? A blast, a cyst, a clast?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things about cartilage, anytime you hear the term chondro, you're going to think about cartilage. So therefore, the immature cell, which will give rise to, is going to be chondroblast. The mature cell is the chondrocyte. The mature cell will reside in the lacuna. Does everybody remember that? It's home, okay? So, if you have this situation, so if you've got the situation where you're going to have a blast cell, all right, the blast, being the immature, will secrete the matrix. In the case of cartilage, all right, think about any of the cartilage you see here, okay? You would have the cells, these blasts, okay? They would be secreting the matrix, secreting it, to a point where you've got matrix surrounding cells. They're now stuck in that matrix, and they're now mature. When they are stuck in that matrix, they're now a cyst. Once that cartilage is formed, that needs to be formed, it is now in the situation of where these cells are now stuck in this semi-rigid matrix, and they are now cysts. So once you reach your full growth, for example, the costal cartilage.